back to Fair's Tutorials, and in today's session we're looking at another 30 multiple choice questions for paper 1 for the subject food, nutrition and health. And this is part 5. Now let's get started. Number 1. Which of the following features of a stove or cooker would be most useful for a busy working mother? And as you can see, it's a combination question. So we have self-cleaning oven, rustic built-in griddle, and also automatic timer. So let us look at the option, guys. So A, that says self-cleaning oven, which is very good, with built-in griddle. No, not necessarily, so let's eliminate that one. B, that has self-cleaning oven as along with the automatic timer. Looks very interesting. Yes, very good, because the automatic timer will go off when the product is finished cooking, as well as the self-cleaning oven can allow the oven to clean by itself, which is B, right? So the correct answer here is 1 and 4. And just for your comfort, let's look at the others. So C has rustic with built-in griddle, and D has rustic and automatic timer. So the most ideal answer here is B, which is a self-cleaning oven and the automatic timer. Next question. Pancakes are usually made from which of the following? A, roux, B, fritter batter, C, pouring batter, and D, coating batter. So when we're making pancakes, guys, what do you notice about the batter? Do we drop it like a fritter? Awesome. So your answer is, if your answer is pouring batter, you are correct, right? So pouring batter is the ideal answer there. Next question. The most suitable method for preserving coffee, rice, and oatmeal is A, sterilization, B, dehydration, C, refrigeration, and D, pasteurization. Now, the correct response there is, if your response is B, which is dehydration, you are correct. Next question. In which of the following cooking methods is leaching of vitamins most likely to occur? And when we're speaking of leaching, we're speaking about all those water-soluble vitamins leaking out, flowing out from the fruits or the vegetables into the cooking liquid, right? Or into a particular liquid. Now, let us look at these responses. So we have baking, which is a dry heat cooking method. Grilling, also a dry heat cooking method. Stewing, which is a moist heat. And de-roasting, which is a dry heat cooking method. So the ideal answer here, guys, is stewing, which is C, very good, which is stewing right there. All right, next question. Fires in the kitchen can be prevented by A, turning pot handle inwards, B, keeping the cooker free from grease, C, using pot holders to remove hot dishes, D, using dry hands to operate electrical appliances. All right. Now, A, turning pot handle inwards, this would more likely prevent burns or scalds, so that's not ideal. That's not the ideal response there. Keeping the cooker free from grease, yes, very important. So the answer here is what? B, keeping the cooker free from grease, because the grease can ignite and create a fire. C, using pot holder to remove hot dishes can also be linked to scalds and burns, and also using dry hands to operate electrical appliance will prevent electrocution. Good. So as I said before, the ideal answer there is B, which is keeping the cooker free from grease. Next question. Which of the following is the main reason for preserving food? Let us look at this keyword here. Main reason. A, avoiding waste. B, retaining its nutrients. C, developing its flavor. B, improving its appearance. What's your response, guys? If your response is A, you are correct. Awesome. Next question. On which of the following types of food will yeast grow the fastest? Good. And remember, yeast is one of the microorganisms that contaminates food. So A, fatty. B, fresh. C, sugary. D, spicy. Now think about when we're making even yeast breads. What is needed? What should we add for the yeast for inactive yeast to become active? We add a little food, a little of its favorite food, which is what? Sugar. Therefore, so our ideal answer here is sugary. So even like on fruits that has natural sugar in there, you may see that those little white spores on the fruits, and you know that it is contaminated. Good. As well as with other sugary things, even when jams and jellies go bad as well, you will see evidence of yeast present. Next question. Oxtail, pig feet, tripe, and cow heel can be made tender quickly by, and you know that these are all tough cuts of meat. A, boiling. Remember, we're speaking about quickly now. B, stewing. C, steaming. D, pressure cooking. If we want to cook these quickly, what do we use? Awesome. We use the pressure cooker, where the steam will be forced inside of this food to create to make it cook faster. Awesome. Next question. Which of the following best describe the term a la carte? A meal at a fixed price. B, a list of dishes served at a meal. C, a choice of individually priced dishes on a menu. And D, a meal at which guests serve themselves, right? Now, a meal at a fixed price is what? Table d'hôte. And a meal at which guests serve themselves is a buffet. Therefore, a list of dishes served at a meal is a menu. Therefore, the ideal answer here is what? A. So a choice of individually priced dishes on a menu. So for instance, you may see appetizers, $500, soup of the day, $200, pork chops, $1,500, depending on the currency of where you're from, right? Good. So the ideal answer there is C, a choice of individually priced dishes on a menu. All right, next question. When a boiled egg custard curdles, the protein molecules have been A, coiled, B, bonded, C, denatured, and D, dextrinized. No, the correct answer here is denatured, because what happens to the egg custard? What do you notice when something curdles in terms of the texture, right? No, what happened is that the protein structure is denatured, so it's no longer in the natural form in which it was before. So the correct answer there is C. Next question. Which of the following is not a commercial raising agent? Meaning that you can't go to the supermarket and purchase it, right? A, air. B, yeast. C, baking powder. D, bicarbonate of soda. And I hear you. Yes, you're indeed correct. If your response is A, air. Next question. Which of the following persons would require a recommended daily intake of 2,500 calories? Now, a normal person with a sedentary lifestyle may have what? 2,000 calories a day. for a normal person. Now, when we go to 2,500, this person must be active, right? So let us look at these options and see which is the most ideal. A teenage boy. B, an overweight girl. C, a 10-month-old infant. And D, a 75-year-old woman with a sedentary lifestyle. Let's read D again. A 75-year-old woman with a sedentary lifestyle. No, the correct answer here would be what? Who is more active? Awesome, a teenage boy. So he may be playing sport as well. No, an overweight girl wouldn't require so many calories. Good. Let us move on to our next question. John ate pork that was not properly cooked. He began to vomit and complained of stomach ache. His symptoms were most likely caused by A, yeast, B, salmonella, Clostridium botulinum, and D, Clostridium perfringens. So the correct answer here is D, which is Clostridium perfringens. Good job. Which of the following is the correct amount of fat for making 250 gram or 8 ounces of short crust pastry? Now remember, when it comes on to short crust pastry, guys, as we're speaking of the proportion, remember it's half fat to flour. Therefore, if we're using 250 grams of flour, what should be half of the amount of fat that we use? Awesome. If your response is C, you are correct. So A says 50 grams, B says 75 grams, C 125 grams, and D 500 grams. So the half amount here would be 125 grams or 4 ounces. Excessive amounts of sodium in the diet can increase the risk of A, dry skin, B, sore gums, C, hypotension, and D, hypertension. Now, excessive sodium, guys, refers to the higher intake of salt in the diet. And you know, sodium or salt is related to hypertension. So the correct answer here is D. As it relates to hypotension, that is low blood pressure, and persons who experience hypotension may feel tired or a little dizzy. All right, next question. The condition of one's health in relation to the food eaten is referred to as A, pH balance, B, body dynamics, C, basal metabolism, and D, nutritional status. Which is the answer? Awesome. If you said D, you are correct. Nutritional status. Good. Next, which of the following features on appliance is associated with the time for which food may be stored? A, star rating, B, fan, C, griddle, D, pilot light. Correct response there is A, star rating. Next question. Before freezing, vegetables should first be A, sauteed, B, clarified, C, sterilized, D, blanched. What is the answer, guys? If your response is blanched, which is D, you are correct. Next question. The main advantage of poached food is that it is A, too fatty, B, not spicy, C, easy to digest, and D, full of vitamins. The correct answer there is dun, 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 dun. If you said C, you are correct. So poached foods are easy to digest. Next question. The elastic or stretching property of flour is due to the presence of A, gluten, B, elastin, C, gliadin, D, collagen. What's the correct answer? If your response is A, you are correct. So A is gluten, which is a protein that is found in flour that aids in the stretching. Now, gliadin is it's a type of, it helps to make up gluten, and it also aids in the structure of the product as well. But as it relates to the stretching property, then gluten is the correct response here. Next question. Eggs are an important component of mayonnaise dressing because they act as an agent for A. Glazing, B. Binding, C. Thickening, and D. Emulsifying. Now, all of these responses or all of these options are important functions of eggs, right? But the ideal answer here as it relates to mayonnaise, now mayonnaise is made up of liquid and oils, and what the eggs does is to prevent them from separating, to prevent the ingredients that we use to make mayonnaise from separating. And this function is referred to as emulsifying. Good. All right, next question. Which of the following factors influence dietary choices in the Caribbean? And as you can see, it's a combination questions. Now let us look at the responses. 1. Religious beliefs. 2. Availability of food. And 3. Cultural considerations, right? Now all of these responses are ideal, so we're looking for the options that the option that has 1, 2, and 3. And that is what? That is D. So the correct answer here is D. Good. Next question. Which of the following are not micronutrients? So micronutrients are needed in the body in small amounts, and they are vitamins and minerals. Now let us look at the options that are here. A. Iron and vitamin C. B. Thiamine and vitamin B12. C. Carbohydrate and protein. And D. Calcium and phosphorus. Now the correct answer here, guys, is carbohydrate and protein, which are macronutrients, and these macronutrients are needed in the body in large amounts. And the next macronutrient that we have is also fats. Good. Next question. Type 1 diabetes is caused by A. A high intake of fat. B. A high consumption of sugar. C. The body's inability to manufacture glycogen. And D. Failure of the pancreas to produce insulin. Now the correct answer here is D, which is failure of the pancreas to produce insulin. Next question. Which of the following substances inhibits the absorption of iron? Now the word inhibits here refers to prevent, right? So which of the following substances prevents iron from absorbing? Good. Now let us look at the combinations that we have here. So there is oxalic acid, there is caffeine and tannin. And all of these substances here, guys, listed does affect the absorption of iron. These substances are what are found in enzymes that are found in like herbs and teas, right? So all of these that are listed here inhibits or prevents iron from absorbing, right? So therefore, we're looking for a response that has 1, 2, and 3, and that is D. So the option D is the correct answer. Next question. Calcium and phosphorus are required for A. Preventing anemia. B. Preventing malnutrition. C. Producing healthy babies. D. Promoting healthy feet and bones. Now the correct answer here, guys, is D, which is promoting healthy feet and bones. All right, next question. A kitchen layout should be placed in a triangular arrangement. A. To save space in the kitchen. B, for efficient storage of food. C, to save time in food preparation. And D, to allow for proper cleaning of the kitchen. So this question is basically asking, why is it important for us to have the kitchen work triangle in the kitchen layout, right? Now, what the purpose of the kitchen work triangle is to ensure efficiency. So therefore, the correct option here is C, which is to save time in food preparation. Next question. Which of the following substances will not inhibit the absorption of iron? Simply asking which of these substances will promote absorption of iron. Let us look at the option. A, pythic acid. B, oxalic acid. C, citric acid. And D, phenolic acid. Now the correct answer here is awesome. If your response is C, which is citric acid, you are correct. Now, citric acid is found in foods that are rich in vitamin C, such as the oranges, the lime, the lemon. All right, you name it. Next question. Dietary guidelines for the Caribbean can be used to reduce the risk of A, eating disorders, B, deficiency diseases, C, communicable diseases, and D, chronic non-communicable diseases. Now, the correct answer here is chronic non-communicable diseases. Good job. All right, next question. Which of the following guidelines is the least likely to be considered when planning meals for convalescents? Now, who is a convalescent? A convalescent is a person who is recovering from an illness or operation, maybe a surgery, right? Now, let us look at the responses. A, avoid fatty fried foods. B, serve delicate small portions. C, use mainly convenience foods. D, observe strict hygiene in food preparation. So the question is asking which of the following guidelines is the least likely to be considered when planning meals for a convalescent, and the ideal response here is to use mainly convenience food. Awesome. You've made it to the end of the session. Please remember to